सदाशिवसमारम्भाम्
सदाशिवसमारम्भाम्
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम्
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम्
वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्।
वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्।
वसुदेवसुतं देवम्
वसुदेवसुतं देवम्
कंसचाणूरमर्दनम्
कंसचाणूरमर्दनम्
देवकी परमानन्दम्
देवकी परमानन्दम्
कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्।
कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्।
I will say the 12th shloka of 12th chapter, which is the summary of the teaching. So, 12th shloka of 12th chapter. Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat
श्रेयो हि ज्ञानम् अभ्यासात्
ज्ञानाध्यानं विशिष्यते
ज्ञानात् ध्यानं विशिष्यते
ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्यागः
ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्यागः
त्यागात् शान्ति अनन्तरम्.
त्यागः शान्ति अनन्तरम्.
So Bhagavan says that whole spiritual journey or Adhyatmik Yatra, various names, spiritual elevation, or people call it like transcendental life, or different names. But everything starts with Abhyas. But Abhyas is by default, whenever we say Abhyas is attached with understanding. Without understanding that Abhyas, we are not machine. Even machine these days, AI has become smart. AI learns from, you give the input and AI becomes smarter. We made it smarter, but still it's a machine. So abhyas means there is an understanding behind that. It is not mechanical abhyas, Bhagavan is saying. And that it ends in shanti, but before shanti, very powerful word, tyagat shanti anantaram. Shanti, from where shanti will come? Tyagat. And tyag means Bhagavan is not talking about general tyag, sacrifice. Bhagavad Gita is very clear in each and every term. He is saying karma phal tyag. And again, karma phal tyag means same fuel. Again, part of question people go, oh, if I had to do the karma phal tyag, then why I'll do the karma? Oh, hold on. Bhagavan has clarified that also. It is not our karma phal tyag. It is the kartapan tyag. Kartapan ahankar. That you have to give up. And we all know in this world, everybody loves the person who has minimum ego. Everybody, even the dog will know. If you have ego, the dog will run away from you. So that is what he's saying. Ahankar vimudatma me badigariti. So there is a similar shlok in the second chapter, I think 71st shlok, almost last but one. It says, Vihaya kaman sarvan pumash nispraha निर्ममो निरहंकार सशांति में दिगच्छति. सिमिलर श्लोक. भगवान कह रहे हैं शांति उसी को मिलती है जो निर्ममो निरहंकार. निर्मम मीन्स माई 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 माई. मम मीन्स माई. एवरीथिंग इज दिस इज माई, दिस इज माई, दिस इज माई. एंड निरहंकार, द वन हु डजंट हैव दैट ईगो. शांति सशांति में दिगच्छति. That person, same similar श्लोक, but Bhagavan says that person reaches the shanti. So that's what the spiritual path is. Now we'll do the seventh shlok of second chapter, which is last time I think somebody messaged me that which shlok it is. It is the seventh shlok of second chapter, which is Arjun's prarthana, which is our prarthana too, and which is my number of time daily prarthana, and everybody's prarthana. Arjun has done on our behalf, we can say. And the answer to that prarthana is the entire Bhagavad Gita teaching. Actually, entire teaching, not just Bhagavad Gita. So seventh shlok of second chapter, which is Sankhya Yoga. Karpanya dosho upahat svabhavah
कार्पण्य दोषो उपहत स्वभावः
prachami tvam dharma sammudha chetah
पृच्छामि त्वां धर्म सम्मूढचेता
yat shreyasyat nishchitam bruhi tanme
यच्छ्रेयः स्यात् निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे
shishyaste aham shadhimam tvam prapannam.
शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम्.
So Arjuna is saying, Bhagavan, Karpanya dosh, because of my consciousness is shrinking, my understanding is shrinking. So I like Karpanya dosh, upahat sabhava. So I forgot my nature. My identity is lost because that whole understanding is gone. And then he says, Shishyasteham, I'm your disciple. So, and Nit Shreyasyat Nishchitam Bruhitanme. Conclusively tell me what is Shreyas for me. I'm little confused here, right? That is it war is good or what? So that's why saying conclusively, tell me, Nishreyas. Syat nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyaste ham shadimam tam prapannam. I am your disciple. Shadimam tam prapannam. That buddhi, my buddhi, dhi means that buddhi. Guide my buddhi towards Shreyas. So last time, Vibhaji, I think you asked that question about Gayatri Mantra. So that's what exactly same thing Arjun is saying here. So Gayatri Mantra mein, we didn't have enough time, so let's spend few minutes on that, because in Bhagavad Gita also in 10th chapter, Bhagavan says, Chandanam Gayatri Asmi and Yajnanam Jap Yagyo Asmi. But he's saying कि छंदों में गायत्री मंत्र जो गाया जाता है और यज्ञों में जप यज्ञ हूं. जो जप is the best यज्ञ, भगवान is saying, not अग्निहोत्र यज्ञ. We always get confused about यज्ञ. So गायत्री मंत्र का जप is the best यज्ञ. Why? Because okay, we say the Savita mantra because Surya Bhagwan is visible. सूर्य भगवान इज अ विजिबल फॉर्म ऑफ भगवान. बाकी सब तो मूर्ति हमारी बनाई हुई है, किसी ने भगवान को देखा नहीं है. सूर्य भगवान को तो हम रोज देखते हैं, सब देखते हैं. एंड whether I see or person in Africa see or person in Australia see or Hindu see or non-Hindu see, they see the same Surya. There is no difference. That is Bhagwan, right? So Gayatri Mantra, that's what we say, Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. Bhur Bhuva Swaha is Bhagwan's attributes. Tat Savitur Varenyam. That Bhagwan ka Savitur, jo Savita means the one who guides, who inspires. Savita word has come from Prasavan, means inspiring. Actually, Prasavan means producing also. भारत में जो चाइल्ड बर्थ को प्रसव ही बोलते हैं, और वहां लिखा रहता है प्रसूति ग्रह. जहां पर लाइफ इज बॉर्न, दैट इज प्रसूति ग्रह. सो सूर्य भगवान को इसलिए सविता, सविता मीन्स द लाइफ इज बॉर्न, दैट्स इट. भगवान इज सूर्य भगवान. प्रसवन द सविता. तत् सवितुर वरेण्यम, उस भगवान को हम वरेण्य करते हैं, वी इम्बाइब, वी अडोर भगवान बेसिकली. भर्गो देवस्य, दैट भर्ग मीन्स like the power, or we can say like Shakti, we can say Bhargami Shakti. That Shakti Devasya, that Shakti वाले परमात्मा की, उसको सूर्य भगवान है परमात्मा की. देवस्य धीमहि, धी मीन्स ध्यान, like again धीमहि धी. तो उनका ध्यान करते हैं. For what? धियो यो न प्रचोदया. ये जो हमारी बुद्धि, यो means together. So this mantra is, if you read Gayatri mantra, जिसने भी लिखा होगा, विश्वामित्र जी ने लिखा था, गायत्री मंत्र में ही इज सेइंग हमारी, लाइक धियो यो न, यो मीन्स लाइक प्लूरल. सो आई एम श्योर व्हेन he must have got from his meditation. Now I always think that, but when he like compiled or he said hamari. So it's not just my prayer, it is hamari buddhi ko dhiyo yo na prachodaya. Prachodaya, same Arjun is saying, shadhimam tam prapannam, meri buddhi ko aap श्रेयस की तरह ले जाइए. That's what she said. The dhiyo yona prachode. We meditate on you so that our buddhi should be guided in the right direction. Prachodayat. जैसे सूर्य भगवान, there's no one to tell. It's like Surya Bhagwan knows that there's no direction. Surya Bhagwan doesn't move. But for understanding, we think Surya moves. It doesn't move. But Surya Bhagwan's position is fixed. Bhagwan knows. Now it will be north wind, like Sankranti. But Bhagwan, Surya Bhagwan knows. Nobody has to guide. Ya idhar ho jao, udhar ho jao. And that's what. So that way my buddhi should be so established. Sthit pragya. That I know exactly what my buddhi should be doing. That's Gayatri Mantra. So I think Vibhaji aapne pucha tha, I think that is the essence of this same Arjun's Pratana. And now with answer to that Pratana, that he says, guide my buddhi towards the Shreyas. And he said, here is the answer. The entire Bhagavad Gita teaching is the answer. So Bhagavad Gita is nothing but Bhagavan is guiding Arjun's buddhi towards the Shreyas. And that's the reason we also enjoy that.
Thank you so much, Sanjay Bhai, for explanation.
Yeah, right. So Gayatri Mantra, it's very powerful. Some other time we can spend half an hour on that. Each word is so atomic in Gayatri Mantra. और उसके समझने के बाद, see, that's the problem. Like of course, I mean, we have to memorize things. There is no doubt about. There is a value in that, memorizing Gayatri Mantra or any mantra. But if we get the meaning, then it is mantra. By definition, manana trayate iti mantra. The one who can protect your man means mind. That is mantra. It could be Hanuman Chalisa, anything. But The purpose of that chanting is that the fear I have. Now, Allah, we are going to go into this chapter, and the first quality Bhagavan is going to talk about abhayam. Because that is, we all have that fear. So Bhagavan, we'll go to that, right? But so mananat trayate means the who protects the man, who takes the fear out of man. That is mantra. That's it. इसलिए छोटे बच्चे बोलते ओ डर लग रहा है हनुमान चालीसा बोलो. हनुमान चालीसा बोलो means what? That चरित्र हनुमान, that is to be said. वो चालीसा तो ठीक है, but अगर वो चरित्र हनुमान मन में बैठ गया तो भय will go away. Then हनुमान चालीसा become mantra. So similarly, Gayatri mantra, if we, any mantra, but Gayatri mantra is the most potent mantra. It is the mantra. So Gayatri mantra, if you know the meaning exactly word by word, it has the power to take the fear away. It has the power to guide the buddhi. But वो क्या था हम लोग याद कर लेते हैं and we keep chanting, which is fine. But एक एक शब्द is so powerful in Gayatri mantra. And then if I say Gayatri mantra playing the meaning, automatic, it will automatic. We don't have to play. It's like our buddhi is that. So the meaning will be played, and then I am doing Gayatri jap. Then Gayatri mantra is, and that's what last time I said, that a mantra can be, that's a parampara. We say that we have to siddha the mantra. Siddha means, siddha word is like accomplished, but siddha samas, that mantra becomes part of my breathing. That is siddha. Then I don't, and the meaning is also always playing in the mind when I am saying the mantra. So if with that power, if you chant Gayatri mantra, it has the power to take away all the fear. It's like a buddhi mantra. And that's why last time I said that there is a tradition in our Hindu Sanatan Dharma, or my Rishiyas, they figured out. I mean, and they are scientists, people, like they are figured out, philosophers, scientists, they are everything there. So they figured out that mantra which has those akshar, the syllables, Gayatri mantra has 24 syllables. So if 24 lakhs times is 2.4 million times, if you chant Gayatri mantra, then it becomes siddha, then it becomes automatic. But again, the meaning. Now, if I just imagine if that meaning I play in my mind 2.4 million times, that Bhagwan, आपका ध्यान करता हूँ, take my buddhi towards you. It is going to. It's part of our character. That's the power of mantra, Gayatri mantra. Some other time we'll go to. But anyway, we'll go to mantra meaning of that. But that's essence is that buddhi should be guided in the right direction. That's a prayer. And that's what Arjun's prayer, like Shadi Mam Tam Prapanna. And the answer is Bhagavad Gita. So we are now in 16th chapter. We completed 15th chapter, which was Purushottam Yoga. And we saw at the end also Bhagavan says, right, this is a Guhyatam, I told you. And Bhagavan says, Etad Buddha, Etad Buddhva. If you know me means not Bhagavan Krishna, he's saying. खुद ही को जान लो. Me means बोलने के लिए you have to Atma-gyan. It is like Brahma-gyan is Atma-gyan. So if you have that Gyan, Atma-gyan, Etad Buddhva, Buddhimanas, then you become Buddhiman. Buddhiman is again Shadi Mam Tam Prapanna. My buddhi is very clear. I know exactly what I have to do. Kratkratyasya Bharat Usyat. Means then you're done. What is to be done is done. It's like that. So Kratkrat means what is to be done is done. But with Buddhimanas, Samajdari said. So that's what we ended. So, and we saw that the chapter started with 13, 14, 15, 16 chapter. They are without Arjun's question, Bhagwan is answering. Arjun के question 12 chapter में उसने पूछा था, उसके बाद Bhagwan is constantly answering. And all these 13 chapter is already addressed in second chapter. 12 श्लोक हैं, लेकिन भगवान ने पूरा chapter. 14th chapter is again, it came in the second chapter. Bhagavan says, Guna Guneshu Vartante. But there he just said one shlok. 14th chapter is entire तीनों गुणों पे भगवान ने बताया. 7th, 8th, 9th Bhagavan talked about Brahma. 15th chapter is all about that. Beautifully Bhagavan has explained what is Bhagavan in 15th chapter. And what is Sansar. Inverted tree is Sansar, but the root of the Sansar, which is awareness, is Bhagavan. It's so easy, like ये संसार में ऐसे ही चलेगा. संसार cannot change. Only thing, that's why all our teachers, whatever बुद्ध हुए या जो भी हुए, शंकराचार्य हुए, सबने बात एक ही बोली, नानक ने, कि आपको ऊपर उठना है, that awareness, that because you belong to that root, which is the inverted tree top. So that was 15th chapter. Now 16 again, Arjun has not asked, but Bhagwan is now telling him कि ये देवी, ये भी 9th chapter में already Bhagwan talked about, and 13th में भी, these qualities of person who is divine or undivine or evil person, we can say. Already talked in one shlok in 9th chapter, I think, and one in 13, one or two. But this chapter is entire about that. So again, as always, I feel personally that he's the best teacher, right? He doesn't want to miss anything. अच्छा टीचर होता है तो जैसे हम लोग, I mean, like in our those who teach, and I teach in some other forum also, बच्चों को ही पढ़ाता हूँ, and we say sometimes, oh, okay, we'll take extra class evening. Good teachers are always there. Okay, come in the evening, I'll give you extra lessons or some if you have doubt. Bhagwan is like that. He feels Arjun ko still looks like he wants to know. Here is it. So 16th chapter is the same thing. He just, Arjun ने पूछा नहीं था, पर उन्होंने कहा फिर भी बताता हूँ मैं कि what are these qualities. Basically, if 16th chapter when we go, it is like do and don'ts. That's why he says Shastra will tell you do and don'ts in the 5th shlok, and at the end also Bhagwan says that this world, we all know good qualities and bad qualities, or good things or not good things, whatever we say. So do and don'ts. And Bhagwan says in chapter that, but after telling all these, Bhagwan will say that Shastra is the praman. You have to go and in the Shastra and find out. And simple example before we get, like truth, satya to bolna hi hai. Satya is a quality. Now, the example given in many places in our Shastra. Here is a Swamiji sitting, or sannyasi, and he is sitting under the tree. And he saw one innocent person is running because some evil people, some gunda people are chasing him or her, to hurt that person. And this person hide behind somewhere when these hooligans and gundas come and say, "Hey Swami, have you seen some person passing by this side?" And now he realizes that these people are going to harm him, or maybe to rob him or her. So, yeah, Satya is that he should say, I have seen that person is hiding behind. But at that time, you have to make a judgment. Is it true? Truth is that, yeah, he knows. So then he makes a decision, right? Based on what? Based on dharma. So these qualities are, Bhagwan is given, but qualities you have to use based on dharma. So धर्म क्या कहता है? धर्म कहता है किसी की रक्षा भी करनी है. Then he will make a decision कि उसको उनको बताना है कि नहीं बताना. A simple example will Bhagwan Krishna in Mahabharata Yuddha. He said, I take a promise that I'm not going to lift the arms. But then he lifts the arm and Arjun says, Bhagwan, your pratigya, what pratigya? If I don't stop Bhishma, then the war will never be over. So dharma is bigger than my pratigya. Mahabharata में आता है कि धर्म इज ऊपर, मेरी प्रतिज्ञा के क्या है, जाने दो कृष्ण. इतिहास विल से कृष्ण हैज ब्रोकन हिज प्रतिज्ञा, दैट्स फाइन, बट धर्म इज इंपॉर्टेंट. So that is what. So all these गुण भगवान बता रहे हैं, but भगवान at the end से शास्त्र is the praman. If you have a doubt, and shastra means not just the book. They are teachers. Shastra thing, Guru Vakya. All these shastra written by our gurus and acharyas. So Guru Vakya is the place you should say do and don'ts. So that's what this chapter, like the summary of this chapter is like that. So we'll start, right? 16th chapter. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
At Shodashodhyayah.
अथ षोडशोऽध्यायः.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
श्रीभगवान् उवाच.
Abhayam Sattva Sanshuddhihi.
अभयं सत्त्वसंशुद्धिः.
Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi.
ज्ञानयोगव्यवस्थितिः.
Danam Damascha Yagyascha.
दानं दमश्च यज्ञश्च.
Swadhyaya Tap Arjavam.
स्वाध्यायस्तप आर्जवम्. इसके उपरांत श्री कृष्ण भगवान फिर बोले, हे अर्जुन, दैवी संपदा जिन पुरुषों को प्राप्त है तथा जिनको आसुरी संपदा प्राप्त है, उनके लक्षण पृथक पृथक कहता हूँ. उसमें से सर्वथा भय का अभाव, अंतःकरण की अच्छी प्रकार से स्वच्छता, तत्व ज्ञान के लिए ध्यान योग में निरंतर दृढ़ स्थिति और सात्विक दान तथा इंद्रियों का दमन, भगवत पूजा और अग्निहोत्रादि उत्तम कर्मों का आचरण एवं वेद शास्त्रों के पठन पाठन पूर्वक भगवत के नाम और गुणों का कीर्तन तथा स्वधर्म पालन के लिए कष्ट सहन करना एवं शरीर और इंद्रियों के सहित अंतःकरण की सरलता और तत्व ज्ञान के लिए ध्यान योग में निरंतर दृढ़ स्थिति में टिप्पणी है। परमात्मा के स्वरूप को तत्व से जानने के लिए सच्चिदानंद घन परमात्मा के स्वरूप में एक ही भाव से ध्यान की निरंतर गाढ़ स्थिति का ही नाम ज्ञान योग व्यवस्थिति समझना चाहिए।
The blessed Bhagwan said, fearlessness, complete purity, steadfastness in knowledge and yoga, charity, self-restraint and sacrifice, self-study, austerity and uprightness.
So if we'll go to each, and there are 26 of them, but we'll go, they're wonderful. I mean, we all know these things. I mean, that the best part is that nothing in this, each quality, we all know that. So if the best part of this chapter is that whatever is said here, we all have experienced, or we all have these things, or we know. I don't have that, at least my friend or someone has this. So this chapter is nothing outside of our normal person's lifestyle. That's why do and don'ts in this chapter, whatever is applicable in life, we see all around. So nothing is like outside of this world in this chapter. So first thing is like sampada. The chapter is Asuriya Devi Sampada. Sampada means the wealth. Now he is not talking about the monetary wealth. What Bhagavan is saying here, wealth means, if we translate in simple term, if somebody asks me what is wealth, in this sense, it is the character, charitra. There is nothing like charitra. Charitra is the wealth. Material wealth is fine. We are not talking, we are in Adhyatmik Yatra. So charitra is the wealth. जैसे हमारे यहाँ तो पुरानी कहावत भी थी कि if money is lost, something is lost. If some, and there are, but if the character is lost, everything is lost. आगे की दो तीन चीजें, if health is lost, something is lost, money is lost, some more things. But if character is lost, everything is lost. So sampada means Bhagavan is talking to the character. So all these quality build the character, and that's what he's saying. So that is sampada. And then Devi Sampada, Devi's word come from this, Devata word has come, Div Saya, which illumine, that is Devata. So that's why these qualities, if they are in me or someone, it illumines my character. इसलिए हम लोग बोलते हैं वो बड़ा देवता पुरुष है या देवता स्त्री है. These qualities illumine my character, my behavior, my nature, my personality. That's why these Devi qualities. And we'll see Asur when we go to that. So Bhagavan is saying this is, so the chapter is Dev Asur Sampatti. So that is qualities are Sampatti basically. Now again, so difference here is that if I take this lecture and anyone, and in front of dog or any animal, if I give this lecture, nothing is going to change. But if Bhagavad Gita, or I mean, ऐसा नहीं Bhagavad Gita, many other places this is said, but Bhagavad Gita has very succinctly said these things. If we read this chapter again and again, and it has happened thousands of years, it changes people. That's why I read Bhagavad Gita, and many of us, right? Because it helps me to, I'll say, oh, let me have abhayam. Let me have sanshuddhi. We'll go to those qualities. So why? Because we are human being. But if I read this Bhagavad Gita 100 times, 1,000 times in front of an animal, dog or cow, cat, they're not going to say, oh, I become abhayam. They are still driven by instinct. But I can, so that difference is, these days it is a very popular term, like programming. We are programming AI. AI is our programming, not AI is not, see, we call it machine learning. The underlying current of artificial learning is artificial intelligence is machine learning. That machine becomes smarter, and that's it's helping you. But ultimately at the core, that machine को भी trained हम नहीं किया है. Machine is not learning. We are making it. So we are capable of, not machine or animal. So but again, we know the principle of, we are also, like Chitubai and sometime I talk, right? Our DNA, our nature is, so the fear we have is coming out for thousands of years. Our ancestors used to go for hunting, so there is always a fear, or there'll be a lion somewhere, or there'll be a snake. So and that's the reason we still have that fear in our genetics. So we are fearful people. But now I know I'm walking on a street in Pittsburgh, there is no lion is going to come here. So I don't have fear of lion, but I still have some fear. So fear is in our nature. I don't have lion's fear, but I have some other fear. Losing a job is a fear. Or maybe somebody is, I see the person, people are here, there is a fear. But animal also have the fear, because they run away if you come. The only difference, that's why Bhagavan is first quality we'll see. Bhagavan is saying here that, and Bhagavan is Shastra is saying that, human being can be programmed, can overcome that fear. Or all these divine qualities we talk about, we can be reprogrammed. And I suppose I born with some negative qualities, weaknesses. Through sadhana, through abhyas, I can overcome that. That's what. So we can be programmed, and this chapter is that Bhagavan is saying. Actually, I get this more because I used to be a programmer. I used to write big programs, and I have written many programs which are like used. But now I don't do that, but initial stages when I learned programming. So all what we are able to program ourselves also. If I do sadhana, if I do jap, fear will go away. And it is true. That's why Hanuman Chalisa is so popular. You chant Hanuman Chalisa, Gandhi ji ka the famous kissa, like mother told, go to the next house and get something sugar, or it's sugar, I think. And Gandhi said, I have a fear. So that house lady, whatever, she said, no, just go, say Ram Ram. Oh no, there is a ghost. He said, there is no ghost. Just say Ram Ram, ghost will run away. And he was a little kid, 8 or 10, whatever year old. He said, he's written in his biography. And he said, I walked with Ram Ram and came back with Ram Ram. And that day I said, oh, Ram Nam he died with Ram Nam. All his life he was fearless just because Ram Nam. That's the power. So that's the programming. When all these people, we just, like last week we had Martin Luther King Day, right? Martin Luther King is an example of fearlessness. We'll come to the Abhayam Shlok, first quality. He knew that somebody is going to kill him. He knew that. But he continued to fight. And somebody asked, there is a quotation somewhere that, what is fearless? What is the fear? About what do you think about fear? And he said that if you ask, he was explaining in his words what fear could be. So he said, a weak mind will ask, if some action to be taken, is it safe? Weak mind will ask, is it safe? It is not safe, I will not do that. But he says the strong mind, the fearless mind will say, is it right or just or not? If it is right or just, doesn't matter, it is safe or not. That is fearlessness. And that was Martin Luther King. And we all know that he was killed. But he didn't care about that. He said, is it safe is a weak mind's question. Is it just or right? It is a strong mind's question. If it is like same Bhagavan Krishna, it doesn't matter what world Itihas will say. I have to break my pratigya, I have to break my pratigya. Even Gandhiji, same thing, we all know that Gandhiji was, he knew that somebody is going to kill him. There was a lot of time, an attempt was, and the home minister of that time said that, Bapu, we have to put a lot of security around you. Why? Because there is a threat. He said, they are going to kill this body, right? And it happened actually. The body was killed. But there is no fear. And that is the way human being can be programmed. So all these qualities Bhagavan is telling, which is nothing but the programming of human being, which can be done. So with that, so first thing, Abhayam. And we already a little bit talked about. So Bhagavan is saying Abhayam is the first quality. And now he is telling Abhayam in the battlefield. Perfect. Because अभी आगे बढ़ेगा ही कैसे अगर अभयम नहीं होगा? लाइक यू कैन नॉट प्रोग्रेस. ही इज टॉकिंग अबाउट नॉट युद्ध, स्वधर्म. So again, same thing. Martin Luther King has the Swadharma. He said, I want to fight for human rights, the rights of the people, the Negro people. That time he used the word Negro, black people. Yeah, if I'm going to be killed, I'm going to be killed. So अभयम स्वधर्म के लिए अगर है तो अभयम होता है, भय होगा ही नहीं. Absence of bhai is, so bhai means inborn. Human being have bhai, as we talked about. It's genetic, but we can be programmed to overcome that bhai. अभी हम सबको डर है. बालस्तावत क्रीड़ा सकता, तरुणस्तावत तरुणी सकता, शंकराचार्य जी सेइंग भजगोविंद. और वृद्धा तावत चिंता सकता, गोविंदे को भी न सकता, भज गोविंदम भज गोविंद. शंकराचार्य कह रहे हैं बचपन में खेलते रहे. बालस्तावत क्रीड़ा सकता, तरुणस्तावत तरुणी सकता. जब तरुण हुए तो एंजॉय कर रहे हैं. अब वृद्धा था, वृद्ध, द वर्ड वृद्ध मीन्स who is matured. The definition of वृद्ध is maturity. And he's saying वृद्धा तावत चिंता सकता. और तुम्हें चिंता सता लगती बुढ़ापे में? बुढ़ापे में तो ऐसा होना चाहिए कि there is no fear, like because I have the understanding, I know what life is. But how, we all know that how the old people are have the most fear, because various reasons are there. But that is what Bhagavan is, abhayam. Absence of fear is abhayam. So that is the first quality. Bhagavan Gita mein bola hai, abhayam is the first quality if you have to walk on swadharma. If you don't care about swadharma, then it doesn't matter, right? So that's first thing. And how do we get abhayam? Very simple. Bhagavan ne Gita mein ke hisab se jo hai, bhakti and jnana, when they come together, the result is abhayam. I mean, it's not I promote these terms. मुझे अच्छा लगता है बोलने में, because these two terms are very close to me, but it is close to, but exactly. So that's why I always, people say there is no separate bhakti yoga. There is nothing separate like bhakti yoga. ठीक है, वो बोलने के लिए ठीक है, and then people say that bhakti is the base of everything. If you have bhakti and then you have jnana, then it becomes vivek. Vivek means the discrimination power. Without bhakti, you cannot learn anything. Without bhakti means nishtha, commitment, shraddha. That is bhakti. I mean, I want to even go for a darshan. I should have the shraddha, then only I'll enjoy that darshan. And that darshan becomes jnana, understanding. So bhakti and jnana, or vivek we can say, that brings abhayam. अगर भक्ति और ज्ञान उतर गया तो फिर अभय लाइफ, फिर देयर इज नो भय, इट्स गॉन, राइट? दैट्स व्हाट. सो दैट इज द फर्स्ट क्वालिटी ऑफ अभयम. अभयम पे तो वन टाइम आई think some temple they called me for a talk Gita ka, and this was the lady who was organizing. She said, Sanjay ji, can we talk about 16 chapter? I said okay, randomly, like ठीक है. And then we started first slok, and it was 40 minutes I talked about Abhyam. And then I said, I'm sorry, abhi tak ho gaya, I think we should stop here. That is one is enough. And I think because that is enough. If I have no bhai, then there is a joy. Everything is a joy. But again, at the same time, Gita mein there is a shlok in the 3rd chapter. Bhagavan says, Na buddhi bedam janayeda Ajnanam karma sanginam. Bhagavan is warning to a yogi that don't confuse the people who are still ajnani. He is telling Arjun, na buddhi vedam janiyeda. Don't divide their buddhi, don't destroy their buddhi. They are still karma sanginam. They are all still ajnani. So ऐसा नहीं कि आपको आ गया तो सबको there is no fear. No, you have to overcome that. There is a sadhana. So that's what Gita is very clear, that it's not that abhayam is ho gaya sab chhod do. That comes through samajhdari. There is nothing. Bhakti and jnana. Without understanding, you cannot overcome the fear also. It's like programming. Same. We can program ourselves. And these days, the simple term neuroplasticity. If you read all that's what they're saying. They're saying you can rewire your brain. And you read all those. I mean, I read a lot about neuroscience and psychotherapy, and that's one of my favorite subjects. And they all say that They say there are, and they are saying like do the breathing techniques. They are saying do meditation, mindfulness. You can rewire your brain. Rewired means overcome. If the fear is a weakness of brain, if you can constantly do this abhyas, you can overcome the fear. That's what sadhana is. It's a very powerful thing, right? So yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Abhayam pe we get. I talked 40 minutes on that, but anyway, so we'll have to move forward there. So Abhayam, Bhagavan is saying first, then Sattva Sanshuddhi. We talked about Sattva means what entire 14th chapter was Sattva. I mean the purpose of 14th chapter was Bhagavan is a good teacher. So he is not always like, when we buy some insurance, or there is a rider they give, right? This policy gives this, but this could be the negative if you go to the right agent, right? खाली वो सेल वाला होगा तो आपको बेच ही देगा वो, but if you go to a known agent, they say, yeah, Sanjay bhai, you can buy this annuity. You buy annuity, but here is the drawback of that. So now do and don'ts. So Bhagavan also, when 14th chapter, when he talked about Trigun, he said Sattva, Rajas, Tamas तीनों बताया उन्होंने, but he said, I will come here also, but he said that the goal is to rise above Sattva also, Gunatit Bhava Arjun. अर्जुन ने पूछा था कि करना क्या है, बोला नहीं, ये तो मैंने समझाने के लिए तो बताया कि what is Sattva, what is Rajas, but the goal is to Gunatit Bhava Arjun. You have to rise above Sattva also. And so same thing here, like that's Bhagavan saying Sattva Sanshuddhi. So he is again saying Antahkaran Shuddhi. Sattva means Sattva Gun. Antahkaran means our consciousness in simple terms. Shastri mein Antahkaran, they say there are 4 things. Man, Buddhi, Chitta, Hankar is Antahkaran. But that's a very technical thing. Simple term is mind. That's consciousness. So, and we all know that, right? Without the purified consciousness, everybody knows this. Forget about religious, spiritual person or not. Everybody knows. Without the purification of consciousness, I cannot be a good person. That's why people all go do all these programs. So that's what Sattva Sanshuddhi means, purity of cleanliness of Antahkaran, which is like that. And then Bhagavan says, Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti. Jnana Yoga, again, we talked about. There is a chapter, right? Jnana Yoga. So Jnana means, again, same last chapter, Etat Buddhva, that awareness, that understanding is Jnana. And the tool, yoga is a tool, yoga is a technique, engagement. Yoga ko isliye they say, like if you second chapter Bhagavan say, Samatvam Yoga Uchyate, means equanimity in all situations is yoga. So that's what he's saying. So if you are, and Vyavasthiti means establish, Nishtha, that commitment. So Bhagavan says that is a quality, Devi quality. अभी हम लोग सत्संग करते हैं, अभी जैसे अभी फॉर एग्जांपल नवीन भाई हैं, आई मीन I think I'm sure he spent 2-3 hours, well use of his retirement time, 2-3 hours doing the study, right? Swadhyay, other than what ये जो group होते हैं, his own Swadhyay. Now that's what he's saying, because he's convinced that this Nishtha is going to give me something which is Devi Sampada. Devi Sampada means there is no wealth, but it is character. So that's what Bhagavan is saying, Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti. If you are not convinced, then whatever amount of study we do, it is not going to, like, I mean, I know all these gun, but see again, I have gone through Bhagavad Gita number of times. Bhagavad Gita has gone through me once or not. If not, then I can go 1,000 and doesn't matter. So all these qualities, yes, that's how Bhagavan said, Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti, the commitment to the learning. If that is a quality, that's a character. We all know that, right? That's a character. We know a lot of people who are scholar and they're committed. So Bhagavan is saying, and then I mean we can go on and on each quality. So Sattva Sanshuddhi, simple terms in for us people like here, it is basically a maintenance program. Right? Maintenance program, what? We know that every 6 months change the filter. Abhi winter aaya hai, change the filter. अभी कुछ हुआ है, put those whatever, like winter आया तो ये करो, summer आया तो ये करो, car में oil change कराओ. Cement, why? maintenance, because otherwise you will not be able to use that machine or whatever, car or your. So same thing. Sattva Shuddhi is the maintenance program. And how do we do that? Swadhyay. अभी आगे एक आएगा term स्वाध्याय next line में. Constantly, every day, satsang. We also satsangatve nissangatvam, nissangatve niramohatvam, niramohatve nischaltatvam, nischaltatve jivana mukti. Shankaracharya is saying, satsang is the beginning. So satsang is nothing but maintenance program. So all these like abhayam, sattva, shuddhi, jnana, yoga, vivastiti, this is a maintenance program. Okay, so next line, let's go. I mean, these are all very, we all read, a lot of descriptions are there. And why do we do these qualities? Bhagavan is saying, we'll see when we go to the last slok, right? Why he's saying that. At the end also he says, but very, very wisely Bhagavan has said that there is a reason for that. So abhayam, again, like we all know, and I'm just repeating, we all know these qualities. We all know that we can, and there's nothing new. These are very standard qualities. If you go to any book like self-help book, they'll tell the same qualities. Same qualities they are saying, self-help book. That's what it is. But this is Bhagavan is at the adhyatmic level. Self-help mein to the goal is here, I can be good in interview. I become nervous. Okay, self-help book read karo, you will be good, perform. If you get this spiritual qualities, self-help book has no need. There's no fear, right, of him. So that's what. So next line is danam damascha yagyascha. So dan, dam, and then second shlok mein will we go daya. So there are three things go together, but we'll take daya, danam, damascha, and daya. Teen. So Bhagavan is saying that these are divine, these are devik sampada. Abhi, who can say that Danam is not a good Devik Sampada? It is, right? But how do you give? That is important. Forcefully, पीछे पड़ गया श्रीपाल जी, एक चेक दीजिए, डोरे यार ये बार बार पूछते हैं, एक चेक ले लो, आप काम खत्म करो, अभी एक विद्यालय का भी ले लो, इसका भी ले लो, ये फिर अभी दिख गया, इनको चेक दे दो. That is not he is saying here. That आपके अंदर से आना चाहिए कि I want to. And I know many people, there are people, they call me, many of them in America. They say, Sanjay, वो एकल का चेक देना है हमें. See, आपको याद आ गया कि मुझे एकल का चेक देना है. संजय मेहता को या और भी जो वॉलंटियर्स हैं, हम लोग सभी लोग कुछ वॉलंटियर करते हैं. तो but we do that. वॉलंटियर का काम है हमें याद भी दिलाना है. But there are people, I know a lot of people, like डॉक्टर मोदी थे, अभी तो शायद he moved to Tampa, वहीं चले गए वो शांति निकेतन में, अब इंदौर चले गए, I think that Dr. Modi, I mean, some of you know, he was in West Virginia. वो मेरे को कॉल कभी रात को 11 बजे एकदम, अरे यार मेरे को याद आया संजय, मैं सोच रहा था अभी मैं भूल जाऊंगा कल, तो वो मैं कहाँ भेज दूं? I mean, that is dana, right? So Bhagavan is saying that that's a Devic quality. That's a divine, that Devic quality, right? But otherwise, अब वो एक आदमी का किस्सा भी है कि वो रात में उसकी नींद खुल गई. कंजूस आदमी था, किसी को दान देता नहीं था. तो एक दिन वो सपने में देख रहा था, पसीना पसीना हो गया, नींद खुल गई. तो वाइफ ने बोला, क्या हुआ भाई, क्या सपना देख रहे थे, पसीना पसीना हो गया? अरे उसने कहा, कुछ नहीं, मैं क्या हुआ, मैं सपने में देख रहा था कि मैं जा रहा था, एक आदमी ने मुझसे मतलब बोला कि कुछ 1 लाख रुपए चाहिए. तो बोले तो सपना था? बोले नहीं, मैंने दे भी दिए. तो बोले सपना था? बोले सपने में दे दिए, इसलिए मेरे को पसीना आ गया. लाइक दैट. So that is, so Dhanam is apne aap aana chahiye. So that's what Bhagavan. These qualities are not to be bought and acquired. These are born, right? Okay. So then Damascha. Damascha means, again, it's not a suppression. It is the restraint, self-driven. Dam ka matlab, I mean, the word dam is, it looks like you're suppressing something. It is not suppressing. It is a control. And self-control, like इंद्रिय निग्रह भी बोलते हैं, सेंस कंट्रोल. इंद्रिय निग्रह, जिसका हमारे शब्द, अच्छा शब्द इंद्रिय निग्रह है. सो भगवान सेज वो भी एक क्वालिटी है. इट इज नॉट somebody is forcing me to do the fasting, एकादशी. नो, I love एकादशी फास्टिंग. मुझे अच्छा लगता है. हमारे यहाँ तो हमारी जैन परंपरा में जो ऋषि मुनि है, आई हैव सीन, भारत में लास्ट टाइम गया था समर में, and Madhya Pradesh, it's pretty hot, and there is a Jain Tirth in Madhya Pradesh. दे वॉक. भोपाल में उनको ऊपर ही नंगे पैर, इट वॉज जून, डजेंट मैटर. सेम कुंभ में आप जाइए, जून में कुंभ होता है उज्जैन में, पीपल आर वॉकिंग देयर, जस्ट दर्शन करना है शिव जी के, तो नंगे पैर ही जाना है. वो गांव वाले को मैंने, आई आस्क्ड वन ऑफ द चीतू भाई भी थे वो, कि ये नंगे पैर जा रहे हो? हाँ, तो दर्शन करने हैं भगवान के. अभी उसको लगा कि मेरा प्रश्न कितना बेवकूफी का है, कि लुक डेट मी. हाँ तो मतलब मैंने उसको पूछा नंगे पैर जाता हूँ? हाँ, तो दर्शन करने हैं भगवान के. दैट श्रद्धा. वो हम सोच रहे हैं कि ये, सो दैट इज कॉल्ड damam is not suppressing, it is that joy is coming from within. And then daya will come to next slide, but daya is again same thing. Daya is compassion. It is not I am strong, that's why I am helping you. That is not daya. Daya is, doesn't matter who I am, strong or weak. There is a compassion born within me. Dalai Lama is a classic example, living example of compassion. And there is a quote, his quote, I love that, right? He said, be compassionate whenever possible. It is always possible. He completes that. Very wonderful quote. Be compassionate whenever possible. It is always possible. So that is there. So we'll can stop here with one story. एक बार इज अ फेमस स्टोरी, बट शास्त्र में आती है, उपनिषद में भी 3-4 जगह आती है. But I have changed. I have modified that story. So there are, we have 14 chapters, right? Sattvagun, Rajogun, and Tamogun. So all the three people, one is with Sattvagun, one is with Rajogun, and one is with Tamogun. They went to Bhagwan. कि भाई हम लोग जो है, हमारे लिए क्या सीख, मतलब तो भगवान ने द नेचर ऑफ दैट. तो उन्होंने बोला कि तीनों को एक ही मैसेज है, द. आई मीन दिस इज अ वेरी फेमस स्टोरी, बट आई हैव जस्ट मॉडिफाइड दैट. द दैट्स अ मैसेज, यू टेक द वर्ड एंड गो. सो दिस, इसमें तो कोई संदेश तो नहीं, बोले ना बस जाओ, ठीक है, सोचो. तो दे वेंट होम एंड दे से कि सोचते क्या, द दे दिया मेरे को भी, द वर्ड, तीनों को द दे दिया. देन दिस पर्सन इज थिंकिंग. सो उनने अपने किसी गुरु जिसको भी कंसल्ट किया, उन्होंने बोला कि तमस गुण वाले को द दिया है. तमस मीन्स जो एट्रोसिटीज एंड क्रुएल्टी, दैट इज तमस बेसिकली. और क्रोध, इट इज और, तो उसको बोला है कि दया करो लोगों पे, क्योंकि यू आर क्रूएल टुवर्ड्स पीपल. सो द इज दया. सो तमस कम करने के लिए दया चाहिए. सो तमस इज अ नेगेटिव क्वालिटी, दया विल इज अ पॉजिटिव क्वालिटी. दैट्स व्हाट दया है. फिर रजोगुण वाले को बोला है उन्होंने कि रजोगुण मतलब वी आर ऑल रजोगुणी पीपल, मोस्ट ऑफ द गृहस्थ. इकट्ठा करते रहो खूब, जितना हो सके. रजोगुण का मतलब ये पैशन इज, खूब इकट्ठा करो, ये भी चाहिए वो भी चाहिए, ये कलेक्शन, मटीरियल वेल्थ, दैट इज रजोगुण. सो उनको कहा दान करो, बिकॉज दान इज द ओनली रेमेडी और एंटीडोट टू रजोगुण. दैट्स वाई इसलिए दान इतना पॉपुलर हमारे यहाँ, स्पेशली गृहस्थ के लिए जरूरी बताया, क्योंकि बाई बीइंग ए गृहस्थ यू हैव मोर रजोगुण. और ये रजोगुण तो सी वो नीड बिकम्स ग्रीड, वो आगे आएगा, लोभ भी आएगा इसमें. सेम लोभ इज अ डिवाइन, इवल क्वालिटी में लोभ आएगा. सो इफ इट इज अनचेक्ड इट बिकम लोभ. नीड बिकम्स ग्रीड, ठीक है, इच्छा बिकम लोभ, बिकॉज इफ इट अनचेक्ड. तो उन्होंने बोला रजोगुण वाले को दान करो. दान इज द बेस्ट वे टू एंटीडोट और रेमेडी टू रजोगुण. तो दया हो गया तमस तमोगुण के लिए. फिर सत्व गुण वाला, वो तो समझता है कि मुझे तो सब बढ़िया है, सत्व गुण ही है ना. सत्व गुण वाले के लिए बताया भगवान ने दमः, दैट सेंस कंट्रोल. बिकॉज सत्व गुण का जो अहंकार होता है, दैट इज मोस्ट डेंजरस. द पीपल हु आर सत्व गुणी, एंड इफ दे, अहंकार तो होता ही है, दैट मीन इसलिए भगवान ने पहले गुणातीत भव अर्जुन. सत्व गुण में भी सेम चीज है. 14 चैप्टर में ही सेड दैट सत्व गुण ऑल्सो बदनाती. बदनाती किससे? ज्ञान से बांध देता है. अहंकार, ज्ञान इन द सेंस नॉट दैट अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि आई नो थिंग्स. सो भगवान से सत्वगुण वाले को करना चाहिए दमश. दमश मीन्स सेंस कंट्रोल, हैव द कंट्रोल एंड ट्रांसेंड. कंट्रोल मीन्स इंद्रिय निग्रह से ट्रांसेंड दिस सेंसेस, एंड वी लिव इन द वर्ल्ड ऑफ सेंसेस बिकॉज एवरीथिंग इज अराउंड सेंसेस. मेरे को क्या खाने में अच्छा लगता है, मेरे को क्या सुनने में अच्छा लगता है. If I mean, I remember when we used to drive with kids in the car and we'll listen to our old songs, right? और बच्चे जो थोड़े बड़े हो जाते हैं मिडिल स्कूल स्कूल, दे स्टार्ट लिसनिंग टू सम इंग्लिश सॉन्ग, हमें समझ में नहीं आते, देन वी डोंट लाइक दैट, दिस इज टू लाउड, दिस इज useless music. It does, my ear, I don't like that. As a parent, I don't like it. What is the maturity? And then, so because it's all me, senses. Bhagavan says, Gunatit Bhava Arjun, means you have to rise above the senses. Situation what demands, that is to be done, not what senses demand. That is Gunatit. And that's what Bhagavan says, Dama. So, the Bhagavan ne kahani mein hi tha, कि सत्व गुण वाले को दमा, you use sense control, and Rajogun has to do dan, and Tamogun has to do daya. And we all have three gun. It's not that there is a separate person, Tamogun, separate person. We all have that because we are born of Prakriti. The whole 14th chapter, Bhagavan says, we all have three gun. And the only thing we have to work on that and reduce tamas as much as possible, reduce rajas as much as possible, and increase sattva to transcend the sattva also. Gunatit Bhavarj. So sattva is the driving, like jumping board. You have to go to sattva to transcend. Like a pole vaulter, like example. That the pole is that you just go and then leave the pole also. Sattva gun is a pole, and then just that pole vault with the person who jumps, leave the pole also in the jump. Gunatit Bhavarj. I think that's what, so we'll continue on. These are wonderful qualities. So yeah, so first slok hi pura nahi hua, but yeah, we'll continue with next time. So that's what. So again, Abhayam. We'll say Tulsidas ji ka ek shlok and do our sit for dhyan. Abhayam means जब भरोसा हो जाता है किसी पे तो अभय आता है. छोटा बच्चा है, वो अगर घर में पेरेंट्स है तो सो जाता है. But if parents are not there, even little kid will not sleep because my parents are not there. There is a fear. So भरोसा. तो तुलसी भरोसे राम के निर्भय हो के सोए, अनहोनी होनी नहीं, होनी हो तो होए. तुलसीदास जी कह रहे हैं, इज अ प्रकांड विद्वान. क्या तुलसी भरोसे, बोले राम के भरोसे. अकबर ने तुलसीदास जी को बोला था कि आ जाओ, लाइक यू कम एंड राइट फॉर मी. से नो. तो तुलसीदास जी ने चिट्ठी अकबर को भेजी थी, हम चाकर रघुवीर के रपट करो दरबार, अब क्या तुलसी होएंगे मन के नर के मनसबदार. तुलसी तो राम का नौकर है, अकबर का नौकर थोड़ी बनेगा. मना कर दिया. फिर वो उसके बाद परेशान भी है, तुलसीदास जी को बहुत किया था उस समय लोगों ने. लेकिन लुक एट द कंपाइलेशन ही डिड ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम. द मुगल्स वेर बिहाइंड हिम. विनय पत्रिका, रामचरितमानस, हनुमान चालीसा, श्री रामचंद्र कृपाल भजन. व्हाट अ कंपाइलेशन. इट्स अ pinnacle of intelligence. We can see those, read those things. कब? क्योंकि तुलसी भरोसे राम के निर्भय हो के सोए, होनी तो अनहोनी होनी नहीं, होनी हो सोए. तुलसीदास जी कहते होगा तो होगा, मार देंगे तो मार देंगे, लेकिन तुलसी तो राम के लिए लिखेगा तो लिखते हैं. दैट इज निर्भय. अभयम. दैट इज अभयम. So that's what the quality of him. So with that we'll just sit for our meditation. Not do meditation, we'll sit for meditation. And again, the goal is to have that presence of Bhagwan, presence of in our mind. So the Abhayam will come. अगर भगवान आ गए तो अभय भी आ जाएगा. भगवान नहीं है तो भय बना रहेगा. So we'll start again, same. Sense, we talked about senses is the problem, because sense takes our mind or consciousness or whatever we call it outside. So even if I want to program, but as long as senses are not under control, that programming doesn't work. Whatever amount of puja I do, whatever amount of vrat I do, still there is a leak. It's like a bucket with holes. If the bucket has holes, whatever amount of liquid or water I fill, bucket is always empty. So these senses are whole in our consciousness. So if we don't control these senses, then the consciousness will never be sattva shuddhi, like hoga nahi. And that's the reason this whole process starts with sense control. Sense control means jo hum dhyan karte hain. And it is not that senses are not required. They are also made of Prakriti. Prakriti is Bhagwan's ansh. But this is the process, because we have to change the direction of our consciousness from senses to Sakshi. So keep the focus on the tip of the nostril and bring image of Prathi Tattva. Now shift focus to the tip of the tongue and think of Jal Tattva, any fountain or river. The second element is Jal, and the second sense is tongue or Jivha. Now shift focus to the eyes and bring up image of Agni Tattva. Agni is Surya Bhagwan or Diya. Right? The third sense is eyes and the Tattva is Agni. Shift focus to the skin and feel the Vayu Tattva, Vayu, Pavan Devta. We can feel on skin Vayu. And I always, like when I do in my office, I tell people, you sit in the, because there are non-Hindu people, sit in the backyard and look at a leaf blowing and just watch that wind, same wind which is on your skin, and which is the same wind which is maybe 50 feet or 100 feet away from you. But there is the same wind which is blowing that leaf and which is on your skin. That's how we are interconnected in this universe. Now shift focus to the ear and hear the sound. Sound means any sound around, and that means it travels in space. So the purpose is that we are in this space, which is inside also, outside. All these elements are outside, all these elements are inside also, because we are made of this Panchatattva Prakriti. But the purpose is by doing of this sadhana, which is called CBT also, right? Cognitive behavior therapy, that by this I'm shutting down, slowing down these senses. And when the senses are slowed down, the mind automatically slowed down, because mind interact with the world through these senses. But if senses are not giving feed to mind has to become less thought, or some state it will be thoughtless. And in the thoughtless mind, now Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, and this time you see, I'm not these senses, I'm not the elemental world, I'm not even the mind actually, I'm not the mind. Who knows that mind is silent? That's Sakshi Chaitanya, that is me. Now I can observe the mind. And that awareness is me, Sakshi Chaitanya. And that awareness is nothing but the reflection of Paramatma. And that's what our rishis say, Tattvamasi. In this state, you are that. Because I am not the body, I am not even the mind. That's Sakshi Chaitanya. That's it. And then Bhagavan says, Yukta Asit Matpara. In this state, sit as long as possible with that surrender to me. Surrender to yourself or me with that Paramatma, basically. We saw the Purushottam last chapter. Oh, Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Holy Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki Jai. Sorry, I think it took